Headline for story number one is Joe Biden exit, talk of the glass ceiling, and the nod to gossip protesters take away from DNC's day one. Click the link that we have for the story, the article from AP News that does a rundown of day one of the DNC convention in Chicago. Now, let's talk about it because in reality, this story is actually a replacement for the story on the four hosts. We had a story on the celebrity hosts that were going to be there for the DNC this week, and we used that placing, the fact that it did place so high, to do this story because by the time Joe Biden stopped speaking, it was really, really late, and I was really, really tired, and I couldn't wait for them to actually have a write-up for the story. What happened? DNC Day 1 was awesome in a standpoint from a programming platform. The RNC did basically the same sort of things, although their message was a bit more dour, a bit more sort of cranky, and once you got to day 4 and Donald Trump, everything went off the rails. Day 1 had a lot of great names, a lot of great talent. It was kind of a bit of a showcasing the Afro-American and the Latino sort of talent. There was a lot of that going on, which seemed like the same thing for the RNC. A lot of the black talent got on day 1, but a lot of young talent, a lot of great names, a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of chat that went way too long. The biggest hit for the night would be, of course, the Kamala Harris surprise appearance after her promos opening the night, basically right after Tony Goodwin came out and said, hey, actually, I think he came out after she did, opening up things. It was weird how that thing happened. And then, of course, the highlight of the night was Joe Biden, who came after AOC, who came after Cori Bush, who came after Jim Clyburn, who came after Jill Biden, who came after Ashley Biden, who didn't get started until literally, a half hour before the primetime show was about to be done, about 9:30 Central Time, or essentially 10:30 Central. No, take that back. About 10:30 Eastern Time. I can't even get my time straight, or whatever. Basically, he came out, after. I think I came out like after primetime, because my time straight off. He spoke until about 11:20 Central Time, which is 12:20 Eastern. So the biggest thing was he got pushed out of primetime. He essentially was up way past his bedtime. I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get this thing going. And it was a slug to get through that. It wasn't a bad speech. It just was, he didn't get started till 30 minutes till the show should have been over. And he went 50 minutes in his actual speech. It was a good speech. Whatever they pumped him up with in those couple times, they pumped him very, very well. In fact, I paid attention to it. It was a turn of the hour. It was 11 o'clock, 30 minutes in. We had this first sort of verbal gaffe going on, and people sort of giggled and went with it. And then he went 20 more minutes on this one. It was a good speech, and it was a great send-off to a guy who's probably not happy he's being sent off, but it was a night of love for Joe Biden and the sacrifice he's made in his career and the sacrifice he's made to sort of get out of the way so they can win the election, and a night to start the coronation, start the celebration, start the pump up of Kamala Harris. I've said often, Kamala Harris is not my favorite candidate. I was not voting for her when she was running for president, like against Joe Biden. I'm going to vote for her because she's running against Donald Trump. Not that she's necessarily terrible, but I wish there were other candidates. But she's what we have to vote for, so she's what's out there. Your opinions on this one can go as far as you want to. Apologies for going really long in this rambling sort of thought process, but there's a lot that happened in the thing last night. Oh, Hillary Clinton doing her bit to talk about the glass ceiling, putting cracks in the glass ceiling, but not quite breaking it, and the sort of, let's call it poetic justice, that as she's talking and she brings up the fact that he's now a convicted felon, the chance of lock him up became a stopping point that kept her from giving her speech for almost 2 minutes. A great night for day 1. I'm not sure how they cover this with day 2, especially with Kamala Harris appearing on day 1 the way she did. But they got 3 more days to do this, including the big speech by Miss Kamala, Miss Harris. We'll see how they play this going forward.